Imagine a group of young, spirited adventurers, their laughter echoing through the frosty air. They are skilled, confident, almost arrogant in their ability to conquer the wild. They pose for photos, vibrant anoraks against a pristine white backdrop. They are the Dyatlov group, and they believe they are ready for anything. But what truly killed the Dyatlov 9? The answer is more complex than you think. After decades of speculation, theories, and cover-ups, we break down every possibility. The truth will shock you. Amateurs, a voice sneers, cutting through their joy like an icy wind. Overconfident fools, they think a few winter hikes make them mountaineers. This isn't some Sunday stroll. The Urals don't care about your skills. They care about respect. He scoffs, dismisses their preparations, their youthful exuberance. They'll be lucky to turn back before the real cold hits. He laughs, a dry, mocking sound. He believes he knows the mountain's rules. He was catastrophically wrong about how it would claim them. Because what happened on Kholat Syakhl, the dead mountain, wasn't just a misstep. It was a calculated, brutal mockery of everything he thought he knew, and it began long before the first snowflake fell. If you stay until the end, you will discover the chilling scientific truth behind one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries. The 9 hikers, young, eager, their faces etched with the kind of boundless optimism only youth can truly possess. Igor Dyatlov, the leader, a charismatic engineer in training, barely 23. Zinoda Kolmogorova, her infectious smile a beacon. Yuri Doroshenko, the gentle giant. These weren't mere tourists. They were seasoned members of the Ural Polytechnic Institute's sports club, each with a passion for the unforgiving beauty of the northern Urals. Their objective, a grade 3 winter trek, the highest classification in the Soviet Union, across 300 kilometers of frozen wilderness. A brutal, ambitious journey designed to test the absolute limits of human endurance. This wasn't a casual stroll. A grade 3 winter trek demanded expert navigation, extreme cold weather survival skills, and an unwavering mental fortitude. Temperatures could plummet to minus 30 degrees Celsius. Blizzards could rage for days, visibility vanishing to zero. The stakes were immense. Success meant prestige, recognition, a step closer to mastering the untamed wild. Failure, that wasn't an option they considered. Their youth, their collective experience in less severe conditions, forged a potent cocktail of confidence and ambition. They were ready, or so they believed. They envisioned triumph, not terror. They saw a challenge, not a trap. But the mountain, silent and ancient, had its own plans. It was preparing a test far beyond anything they could ever imagine. A test from which, for most, there would be no return. The journey began with the familiar rumble of steel on steel. January 25, 1959. From Sverdlovsk, the group boarded a night train, heading north into the vast snowy expanse of the Ural Mountains. Their destination, Vizhai, the last outpost of civilization, a tiny settlement, a collection of wooden cabins huddled against the relentless cold, where the paved road simply ceased to exist. Beyond Vizai, only the taiga and mountains awaited. In Vizai, the train gave way to a truck, then a horse-drawn sleigh, carrying them deeper into the wilderness. The laughter, the camaraderie, it was all there, but an unforeseen twist was lurking. One of them, Yuri Yudin, began to feel unwell, a sudden debilitating pain in his leg. The symptoms worsened, making continued travel impossible. He was forced to make an agonizing decision. He would turn back, 9 would continue. Yudin, the 10th member, waved goodbye. A simple farewell he didn't realize would be their last. He watched them go, 9 figures shrinking against the blinding white, disappearing into the vast, indifferent landscape. He was the lucky one, though he didn't know it. He carried their last smiles, their last words. He carried the burden of being the sole survivor, spared by illness, haunted by the knowledge of what lay ahead for his friends. They were truly alone now, heading towards the unknown, towards Kholat Syakhl, the dead mountain. The final days before the disaster, the diaries, they chronicle not just the journey, but the slow creep of the mountain's embrace. The entries become sparse, the handwriting more strained as they battle relentless blizzards. February 1st, 1959. The group, now 9, pushed onward, their skis carving silent paths through the untouched snow. They were strong, seasoned, yet the conditions were brutal. Temperatures plunged to -25 degrees Celsius. Winds howled, reducing visibility to mere meters. Their objective was a small wooded area, offering shelter, but in the whiteout a crucial navigational error occurred, a slight deviation. Instead of descending into the forest, they found themselves higher, exposed, too late to turn back. Exhaustion set in. The wind a physical assault. They made a fatal decision, set up camp on the eastern slope of Kholat Syakhl, dead mountain in the local Mansi language. No trees, no protection, just an unforgiving expanse of ice and snow. The tent, a fragile barrier against the encroaching night. Imagine the final words, scrawled with frozen fingers, in a diary that would become a grim epitaph. Not just a record of a journey, but a testament to a battle they didn't know they were losing. The last entry spoke of the brutal cold, the relentless wind, the shared ordeal that forged an unbreakable bond. But listen closely. Can you hear the unspoken, the growing unease? They were no longer adventurers conquering a peak. They were pawns on the mountain's chessboard. Kholat Syakhl, the dead mountain, was not merely a landscape. It was a hungry entity, and it was about to reveal its true horrifying nature. What secret dread did those stoic words conceal? What chilling premonition did they ignore? Then the waiting, a silence so profound, it pressed down on them, heavier than any snowdrift. A silence that promised answers, but only delivered an abyss. For us, the waiting began too. The agonizing years of questions, of theories, of the chilling realization that some mysteries refused to surrender their dead. This wasn't just a pause, it was the precipice before the fall. The calm before a storm so unnatural, so utterly inexplicable, it would haunt generations. A silence that would soon become deafening, echoing the screams that never were. Are you ready to confront the void? The agreed-upon return date was February 12th. Dyatlov, ever meticulous, had promised to send a telegram upon reaching Vizay, their first point of contact with civilization. Days passed, the 12th, the 13th. Still, silence. Initially, no one worried. Expeditions often faced delays. Weather, unexpected detours. It was part of the game. Relatives, colleagues at the Ural Polytechnic Institute, they understood. A day or two was nothing. But as the calendar pages kept turning, the casual calm began to fracture. February 15th, the 17th. Dyatlov was never late. His precision was legendary. A faint ripple of unease spread. A few phone calls, discreet inquiries. No, the telegram hadn't arrived. No one had seen them. The ripple became a wave. Concern escalated into genuine anxiety. Something was wrong, deeply, profoundly wrong. The Institute, now facing mounting pressure from distraught families, could no longer ignore the escalating dread. Orders were given. The first search parties, small and largely unprepared for the vastness of the northern Urals, were dispatched. Friends, volunteers, even the military, a hesitant response to a situation they still hoped was just a misunderstanding. They were looking for a lost group. They would soon discover they were searching for something far more sinister. The first search parties, ill-equipped for the chilling indifference of Kholat Syakhl, finally reached the slopes on February 26th. What they found wasn't a lost camp, but a scene ripped from a nightmare. The tent, Dyatlov's meticulously pitched sanctuary, stood stark against the snow, a grotesque monument to something unspeakable. But it wasn't merely abandoned. It was shredded, not by wind, not by animal, but from the inside. 8 distinct violent slashes tore through the heavy canvas, gaping wounds that screamed of a desperate, panicked escape. Inside, a tableau of domesticity frozen in time. Boots, warm clothes, axes, even food, all left behind. 9 pairs of boots, 9 sets of outerwear, all the tools for survival in sub-zero temperatures. It made no sense. Why would experienced hikers, facing a blizzard, abandon every shred of protection and flee into the brutal cold? The meticulous order of their previous camps vanished, replaced by an inexplicable chaos. A jumble of personal effects lay strewn about, as if tossed aside in a frantic split-second decision. Then, the footprints, leading away from the tent, down the treacherous slope, towards the dark, forbidding cedar forest, nearly a mile away. A trail of prints, some clearly showing bare feet, others in socks, some in single boots, none fully equipped for the -30 degrees Celsius, -22 degrees Fahrenheit. A bizarre procession, shambling away from their only shelter, into the embrace of certain death. Who were these people, and what primal terror had driven them from their tent, unprotected, into the unforgiving wilderness? The search party, once hopeful, now felt a chilling dread solidify in their bones. This wasn't a rescue mission anymore. This was a crime scene, or something far, far worse. The footprints led to a deep, dark cedar forest, its ancient branches heavy with snow. A mile from the shredded tent, the search party made their first horrific discovery. Beneath the gnarled roots of a massive cedar, half buried in the snow, lay two bodies: Georgy Krivonyshenko, 24, Yuri Doroshenko, 21. Their attire was a stark, brutal insult to the -25 degrees Celsius, -13 degrees Fahrenheit. Thin underwear, socks. Doroshenko was shirtless. Krivonyshenko wore only a single torn sweater. This wasn't a mistake, it was suicidal exposure. The scene around them screamed desperation. Branches on the cedar, high above their reach, were snapped, torn down with immense force, not by wind, but by hands, human hands. Around them scattered debris, small charred pieces of wood, a futile, heartbreaking attempt to build a fire. Krivonyshenko's hands, burned to the bone, testified to his horrific struggle. He had tried, with his bare hands, to ignite a flame, to stave off the encroaching death, to tear down wood from the tree. The futility of it, the raw, agonizing effort against impossible odds, it ripped through the searchers. Why were they so lightly dressed? Why such a desperate attempt at fire when their tent, full of warm clothes and equipment, was less than a mile away? This wasn't just hypothermia. This was an agonizing, slow death, orchestrated by something incomprehensible. The indignation festered. These were young, vibrant lives, extinguished not by a simple accident, but by a malevolent puzzle, a cruel mockery of survival. What force, what terror, had stripped them bare and abandoned them to the unforgiving mountain, leaving only the ghost of a desperate struggle? The search pressed on, the silence of the pass now a heavy shroud, each gust of wind a mournful whisper. A chilling pattern began to emerge, pulling the team further from the cedar, up the gentle slope, back towards the abandoned tent. 180 meters